My name is Rashad Ali. I'm a Muslim from the UK. I was formerly a member of Hizb ut-Tahrir, which is a revolutionary Islamist group. I now work with the organisation Sentry, engaging in de-radicalisation work and countering extremism. I was born in the city of Sheffield. It's an old industrial city. It was a city with a very strong anti-establishment field. So this was the kind of narrative that I grew up with, and it was very similar. It resonated a lot when I met the group Hizb ut-Tahrir, who also had a very anti-establishment, anti-capitalist narrative. Even though you fit into the society, you have something slightly different about you, which is that you are religious, you do come from an ethnic background, so you recognize those two identity layers that you have. When I met the group Hizb ut-Tahrir, they played on, I guess, those two slightly different identity layers, that you're not Asian really. Your real identity, your foremost identity is you're Muslim. And so if you like, the religion that you're given is a religion that gives you an identity, a sense of belonging, a sense of political direction, and also morals, all packaged into one big totalitarian system. So this is what Hizb ut-Tahrir offered. It offered a complete radical alternative to everything. It's a radical group, it's not a violent group. And so the group itself doesn't espouse or advocate acts of violence in the name of the group. Its methodology is to infiltrate militaries, influential people in society, change public opinion, and have the militaries take over those countries. Recently, there are many people who have left university to go to Syria and Iraq to go and actually literally become martyrs. Many of them, there's individuals who become suicide bombers. The original motivation was triggered by the tyranny they saw undertaken by Assad's regime. The problem is that motivation is then reshaped with this violent discourse of jihad. People have been indoctrinated by that ideology. They're hardened militarily, they're emotionally, they've removed the barriers towards taking life. So I think it does create a very dangerous situation. And given the type of statements that have been made, where people are threatened to come back and undertake acts of violence, where people are killing individuals who are from the West, then I think it does pose a very, very serious problem and a very high risk of terrorism that we have to very seriously consider. What you tend to do is you tend to see things in the organization or the ideology which don't sit comfortable with you, but you reconcile that by saying, well, we would never do that, or that would never happen until it happens. And I think that's one way you deal with it. But eventually, I think you recognize this doesn't just have bad things to it. The whole thing as a whole is bad. You recognize that actually this is subhuman as an ideology. And so I went through a process of recognizing not only is this amoral, not only is this not religiously substantiated, but it's very negative for society. It's very, very dangerous. So we need to do something to counter that. I actually wanted to go and engage with people who had become, like myself, younger people who had become involved with these groups and organizations, aimed at helping them move away from these organizations and more radical views so they could maintain their religiosity without having to embrace an extreme perspective. So we set up an organization, a few of us, called Sentry, which, basically was a counter-extremism organization. The problem is a social problem, and therefore the only response can come from society. It has to be a civic response, which means wider society engaging in this debate, not shying away from thinking this is something to do with Islamophobia or this is racist or anything like that. Actually, no. Challenging extremism is a duty for all people in society.